What is going on YouTube? This is Quantum Gaming here. This is actually my very first YouTube video on this channel that I'm going to be making, so I'm very excited about this, honestly. As you can see, we're on the Division 2, and I'd like to go ahead and show you guys my build. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, this is the best build in the history of the Division, or act like this is going to be like, oh, the most OP build in the world or something. But it's a pretty fun build to run, in my opinion. It's definitely a PvE build, but it's not really, I don't want to say that it's a PvP build necessarily, but you can use it for PvP. So without further ado, we can go ahead and get into it. So coming into the build, this is what we got. Now, I know you guys are probably looking at this like, what in the world? Look at these numbers, like, what in the world? Look at these talents. What is this dude talking about? What's this dude doing? So I feel like a lot of people may already be running this, but I haven't really seen too many builds that people have done and put on YouTube. That's the way that mine is right now. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys this build. So basically this build is going to be revolving around clutch. And just to let you guys know, this is after the title update 4 with the gunner specialist. So I wanted to make this video around this time so that way people can see it, like it works a lot better with this gunner specialist. So basically this build does revolve around clutch. It revolves around clutch combined with Berserk, and it synergizes well with the chatterbox. So we're actually gonna look at the gear first. So this build is centered around critical hit chance, and basically it's centered around clutch. Now, what clutch does is it restores 20% health and repairs 1% armor. So a lot of people still use this talent, and I know when the game first came out, a lot of people was using this talent, but I think it actually ended up getting nerfed a little bit, so people don't really use this that much. Also, people don't really rely on critical hit chance and critical hit damage that much anymore, so that's kind of also another thing. But me, I'm the kind of person, I like to take the stuff that people kind of throw away and make it better and, you know, kind of resurrect it. So basically what I did is, of course, I maxed out my crit chance. So I'm at 60% crit on this build. Actually 61.5%, but I'm at 60% crit. And basically, because as you can see, my armor is very low on this build and my health is very high. So basically your armor is gonna get shredded with this build, but where this build really kicks in is your health. So you combine that amount of health with clutch and a 60% critical hit chance. Basically every time you hit your enemy, you're going to be getting this clutch talent activated, which is going to restore your health. So this build essentially allows you to face tank the hell out of people and big enemies. I'm going to actually show you guys some gameplay of me low-key, like any enemy in PvE, any heavy enemy. Honestly, like any enemy in PvE, I can face tank with no problem. I almost never have to pop med kits or anything with this build. It's not a very skill reliant build. I mean, none of the builds really, no one really relies on skills in this build, but with this build you don't really have to rely too much on the chem launcher that much or anything with this build. You can solo missions. I've soloed I don't know how many missions with this build. So basically that's the overall gist of this build, is to essentially be a face tank and get that constant heal on your health versus your armor. And the reason why this works with this build is because I have the chatterbox. So we're gonna actually look at the stats. So basically right now I'm running a Wyvern or Wyvern, however you say that. I'm running a Wyvern where mask, it has 23.0k armor, it has 6% critical hit chance, 18,550 health, and this actually has the spotter talent on it. Now I'm gonna get to that later, but as you can see, this is the role for this particular piece. For my backpack, I have an Alps Summit Armament backpack, and I actually have 2 of these as far as a brand set goes. Also for the Wyvern wear, whatever, I have the 2-piece set for that. But I really honestly plan on changing this later. But this is what I got for right now. So got the Alps Summit, and from this I'm getting 10% cooldown reduction, 5% skill power, 12% critical hit chance, 7.5% weapon damage. Now I have safeguard on here, and I know that this talent is not active, which really sucks. It's not really I want to put something else on here, but I just haven't gotten good RNG yet. But I have vital rolled on this, and on this build you're going to see a lot of vital health rolls because we need as much health as we can get, you know what I'm saying? I also have a utility skill power mod and an offensive firearms power offensive system mod, which is giving me extra 1.5% weapon damage and 4.0 SMG damage. For the glove, of course, we have clutch. It's another Alps glove, and we got 20,788 health rolled on this. Once again, you're going to see a lot of health rolled on this build because this build is centered around health. So this is that's essentially what we're going to go for as far as this build. I have a utility system assist mod, which has 162 skill power, disrupt duration, and confuse duration, which I really don't care too much about, but you know, that's what comes with it. This chest piece is pretty much god rolled for this particular build. The only thing that I don't really care for is the assault rifle damage on it from Fenris group brand set, but I highly doubt I'm gonna be able to find a better chest piece for this that's like god rolled. So this chest piece is what I'm just going with for right now. 46,000 health rolled on it, almost 600 skill power, 5.0 critical hit chance, and then here's where something else kind of helps on this build. I have actually Berserk on this. So the reason why this works well with this build, I decided to go this route because basically this build goes off of you having no armor to begin with because of clutch, right? We're relying on our health to repair us and be able to face tank as we're getting those critical hits, and as we are getting those shots off, you know, our health is going to be coming back, and we're going to be taking damage, but we're going to be getting it right back, restored, you know, and it essentially creates like almost like a striker brand set effect from or gear set from Division 1, and that's why I actually call this build, I call it the Neo Striker build. But because of the fact that we're reliant on not having much armor with this build, Berserk works perfectly, because basically what that gives us is a constant 50% weapon damage bonus at all times. And then on top of that, I have Vital, so that while we're already tanking the hell out of everybody's bullets because we're getting that health revived or restored every critical hit, we're essentially doing a lot of damage too because of Berserk. And then this is also where Spotter on the mask actually comes in as well, because this actually helps give us an extra 20% weapon damage when we use our pulse. So anyways, that's for the chest piece. For the holster, we have the Murakami Industries holster. Now this is a must-have on this build because you get that 8% health just by equipping one piece, so you need that. I have essentially 40,000 health rolled on this, and then 463 skill power, and then another 173 skill power mod. And lastly, for my knee pads, now this right here, I feel like you can kind of do whatever you want with the talent on these knee pads. You can also switch out Spotter if you want to, but because of how I'm running this build, I couldn't really find any better talents that I really wanted to run, so I just went because of the numbers, how the numbers ended up, I just went for Spotter, and I just went for Cloaked. So Cloaked is pretty cool because you basically, when your armor is depleted, nearby enemy skills are disrupted for 10 seconds, and that can occur every 30 seconds. So this is actually pretty cool because basically your armor is always going to be depleted once again. So that's kind of another thing, almost like Berserk, that works well with this build because it can disrupt enemy skills. So I've actually used this in the dark zone. People will have their seeker mines healing them, or they'll like have their drones or whatever, and basically once they deplete your armor, which they're gonna do, you know, they're gonna do that regardless, their skills get disrupted. So at that point they're like, damn, what the hell, like my skills are disrupted, and that's gonna catch a lot of people off guard. A lot of people are not gonna expect that, so that's a good little thing to have also. I feel like that's actually a very underrated talent in the game, to be honest, because especially in PvP. Now in PvE it helps also, like say you're near like a bunch of enemies or something, because most of the time you are going to be in the enemy's face with this build. You're going to be face tanking the hell out of people, so it works pretty well too, because if they have like a skill or something out, it'll get stopped, it'll get disrupted if they have a drone or like one of the mech dogs or something like that. So this is also pretty good. But yeah, for this piece I have 9% critical hit chance, and I have SMG critical hit damage and 2% weapon damage on this. So essentially guys, this is the build. To be honest, this is actually a really good build. Now once again, I'm not going to say that it's the best build in the world or anything, but it's a very different and fun build, and it's almost like a troll build, because basically people are going to melt the hell out of you. They're going to melt the hell out of your armor and think that, oh okay, he's trash, but then as soon as they get to your health, right, they're going to be like, ooh, wait a minute, why is he not going down? And it's almost gonna troll people, and they're gonna kind of get mad and be like, why is he not going down, as they're shooting you. I actually tested this build out against my brother. His build, he actually is spec'd into a lot of weapon damage, and he has a lot more weapon damage on his build, a lot more armor. He's also running unbreakable, and I was still able to beat him. I was actually still able to drop him. He was not able to drop me. We tested this out in the dark zone because he wasn't able to drop me though. And the reason why is because of clutch. You know, as he was shooting me, his bullets weren't doing anything because he got my armor down. But as soon as he got my armor down and started trying to chip away at my health, clutch just kept on restoring that 20%. And guys, 20% per critical hit is a lot. You know what I'm saying? And it pairs so well with the chatterbox, because the chatterbox, we all know what the chatterbox does at this point. You know what I'm saying? It has 60 rounds in the mag, and you have a 60% chance of hitting, of each of those rounds hitting for a crit. So if you do the math, I believe that's like, I don't know, I want to say like around 35, don't quote me, I want to say around 35 or 40 bullets of the magazine are going to be crits. So, but those crits can happen at any time. It can happen any bullet, like once every other bullet or whatever. It can, like 3 of them can happen in a row, 4, you know what I'm saying, whatever. So, but because of the fact that you're running this with the chatterbox, it just works so well. And then the chatterbox increases its RPM as you shoot. So basically, as you're emptying your clip, you're actually doing more, you're getting more healing, because you're getting your heals a lot quicker as you're emptying your clip. And by that time, whoever you're shooting is most likely going to go down, because remember, this build still has about 96% weapon damage on this build, with everything like combined, the extra SMG damage and weapon damage from Berserk and Spotter and everything. This build has, like, when everything is like activated, you're gonna be at about like 96% weapon damage. So that, on top of them not being able to kill you, is a monster, trust me. So this is a pretty good little build. it's not, once again, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's the strongest thing in the world. I'm not exactly sure if it's 100%, you know, meta proof against like all the meta, but it should, you should have a lot of fun with this build. I'm gonna move into the skills right quick. I'm actually running the pulse with this. I'm running a radius mod on it, a cooldown reduction mod. I'm looking for a better mod, but I just honestly couldn't find a better, really, I couldn't find a better skill to really run with this, because I wasn't needing any heals, and I wasn't really needing to use skills because I'm shooting so much. So I was just like, damn, well, what can I really use that's gonna help me as far as a skill? And I was like, okay, well, maybe I should use the pulse, since I ended up using this mask that had spotter on it. So the pulse is actually really nice, because it can help you see like your enemies. I'm using the remote variation because it lasts longer than the regular pulse. So that actually works pretty well. And then of course I'm just using the reviver hive. I'm not really gonna explain that too much. You guys already know how that works. But yeah, this is the build here, and I'm probably just gonna show you guys some gameplay of the build, and let you guys kind of see it in action for yourselves. But yeah, I do appreciate you guys watching this video. Anybody who watches this video, stumbles across this video, I want to thank you. You guys make sure you like and subscribe, leave me a comment. Yes sir, I appreciate you guys. The only other thing I was just gonna say, the things that kind of make, the two things that I would do to kind of make this build a little bit better is I'm thinking about switching out either the mask or, well, I'm thinking about switching out both the mask and the knee pads, because as of right now, that drone skill power and critical hit damage isn't really doing much for me at all. So I would like to switch both of those out for like 2 Providence pieces. If I were to switch them out for a Providence piece, I would get even more health and skill power, which would be nice. Or if I don't go that route, I was thinking about maybe just switching one piece out for a Solikov Concern, just so I can get that extra SMG damage, because I would get an extra 10% SMG damage at that point, which would make like our total extra damage go upwards of like 100%. So that would be pretty crazy. With everything like combined, it would hit pretty hard. So but yeah, I do appreciate you guys watching this video. I want to thank you guys, and peace out.